Hey everybody, it's me again. So I've been in France for a little bit over a month. There's a lot of things going on. Most important things is that my wife is pregnant. We are expecting a baby very soon, within a month from now. So that has been keeping us very busy. Also, with getting myself set up, getting the new apartment, getting it furnished, and my wife also works, and I've been trying to get involved in different activities here, just to have like a social life, and also to have start taking French classes. Um, in my free time, I also play an instrument when I get bored and stuff like that. If you come here to France, I found that using Facebook can be useful. There's a group, a Facebook group called Americans in France, and there's also um, different Facebook groups for the specific city that you live in. For example, I'm in Brest, France, so there's an Americans in Brest group, and it'll be the same for like Bordeaux, Paris, Marseille, etc. I saw a lot of different groups on there, and it's very helpful because people are in so many different situations, and they come here for so many different reasons. But one thing everyone has in common is that they're English speakers or they're Americans, and they're all trying to figure out just how France works and the different things you can do. So that's one useful thing you can do on your own, and everything's in English, and people provide links and things like that. Um, Me, I have experience working in the music industry. I left my job to come here. I worked in digital media, and I'm in a town that probably doesn't have big, entertainment companies like that. So, especially not English speaking. So, finding the same kind of career is probably not possible in this city. Um, One of the first things you're probably going to want to do if you come here and you have a similar situation where you have a skill or a certain career that you don't think you can apply to here because your level of French is not good or whatever. And let me just say, French is very important. I've looked at several job sites for positions, English speaking positions, and I mean, most of the positions that come up are not in France. You'll find them in like different countries, like near France, like Belgium or Switzerland or in the Netherlands. England comes up a lot, which it sounds very tempting if you're an English speaker to try to find a way to be in England, but it's with the Brexit and everything, and it's probably a little more complicated, and your visa probably doesn't cover your work in London. So that would be a completely different issue that I won't get into. But back to looking for work here. I've been here for about a month. I'm still not working. I worked for Sony, so they do have offices in Paris. And when I arrived, one of the first things I did was go for an interview with human resources there at Sony Music France. They were nice enough to meet with me because of my connections and my experience already at the company. Unfortunately, I was told that my level of French had to improve, which is pretty obvious when you think about it. But still, it's good to hear it from someone who actually works within the entertainment company. He also told me, at this it's a even though Sony is a very big company and well known throughout the world, it's their specific part of the company is very small. Half of the people that work there, he said, don't use English at all, and the other half use 50-50 amount of English. So that kind of gives you an idea of kind of situation. My wife has told me that she's had friends who had coworkers who spoke English, and that's all they need in their job. But I wouldn't think that that's a very common thing. After my interview in Paris, this was probably right when I arrived, and I have to take a train. Okay, so one of the most important things that you're going to want to find out about is Pôle emploi. See, I can't even pronounce it right. Pole emploi. You see this? Okay. This company will be the most helpful company for you. They have offices in several cities here. It's a corporation. Um, they will be the most helpful in helping you find uh, trying to help you find temporary work in France and getting you free, well, practically free French lessons. Um, so this is something you're going to want to look into, um, or have your spouse. If you have a French spouse, I mean, it's so necessary for you to have a French spouse. If you don't, I mean, your level of French has to be excellent. Um, it's really the only way. I think the French are very proud of their language, and they expect you to try to learn their language, and they expect you to speak it if you expect to live here. So if you can't do that yet, and you want to come here and learn it, um, or you want to, or your spouse has to do it for you. Your spouse has to be able to take care of things, or your first idea is probably you want to try to teach English. Um, Now, there are a lot of people who I think want to come here and teach English. It helps, I think, if you have experience teaching, coming from wherever you're coming from, so you don't have to get a teaching certification or something like this. Because you probably want to look into getting some kind of certification to teach English. I've seen, from what I've seen, it could be anywhere from a couple hundred euros to thousands of euros to get your teaching certification, and it could take anywhere from 3 to 6 months or something like this. I personally don't want to go that route because I figure that French is something that I really need to learn eventually, and also I've read that French people really like or in France as far as for teaching positions. Um, the the country likes hiring Europeans first or French nationals first for jobs, and like you probably would dream of teaching at a university level, making a good salary. It's probably not going to happen. Even with a teaching certification, you'll probably only get part-time work, um, especially if you're not able to speak French, because you're going to be, even though you want to teach English, you're going to have to learn a lot of French to be able to do that before people are comfortable, speaking. A lot of people speak English here. A lot of people, like most people, speak English here, and they're just shy to do it. I was really surprised. So I know I'm kind of jumping around all over the place. I'm just trying to give you guys an update. There's still a lot of things I have to do. Um, Remember this OFI form? You probably got this form when you applied for your long stay visa. Um, I'm filling out the bottom part of it right now, and I'm going to put this in the mail. And all the information that you need to send it to is here on this form, or the attached forms that came with it. And you just have to find the mailing address where you have to send this form and send photocopies of your visa, and other information like that. It's all on the form. Um, Reply in the comments if you have any questions specifically about what. Um, but I have to send this in the mail. You want to do that within 3 months, so they can 3 months of your arrival in France, so that they can schedule an appointment where you can go in for your medical visit, and then they could validate your visa for a long stay, um, something like that. I don't know. I have to do it, so I'll let you know how that process goes once I start going through it. Right now, I'm just gonna put things in the mail. Okay, so there's that. That's something else that needs to be taken care of. I haven't done yet. Been here a month, haven't done it yet. Even though they encourage you on the application to do it upon arrival in France. I mean, upon arrival in France, you have to, get yourself situated. You have to get a bank account. Getting a bank account is not as easy as it is in in the U.S., where you can just walk into Bank of America and get a credit card or a bank account in like 5 minutes. It's not that easy here, and it's more difficult if you're American, because American has some. America's just difficult, and they will put companies here in France through strict procedures to allow Americans to open bank accounts here. Some banks don't even accept Americans open bank accounts. Um, when I was doing my search, to banks that I saw that are all throughout France that seem like they're more friendly for you opening a bank account by yourself are CIC. Hold on, let me just look it up quickly so I could say that. I also saw Credit Mutuel. The one I have is Credit Mutuel Brittany, but I'll explain that in a minute. Um, on my computer right now. Okay, CIC. I don't know what the CIC stands for. I think it's Credit Mutual. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I see everywhere is just CIC. Wish I could show you a picture of it. It's CIC, and you just look up CIC Bank, and it'll have like half of it's blue. The symbol is like a C. It's like a white C, a red I, and a white C, and half of the logo is blue and the other half is green. That's the one I'm talking about. And there, it also has some subsidiary banks that might be helpful. Another one that I've heard is helpful is La Poste. La Poste, the post office here throughout France, actually has a bank account that you can open and an ATM. The trick for both of these, though, CIC does have a page that's in English, um, so you can you're able to go through the website yourself, translate it, and click the options so you can look at the website in English. Unfortunately, the English version of the website doesn't have as many available links. Like, all of the links are not in English. It's just one page that opens up that's English, and that's all the information that you have. But through Google Translate and through the limited amount of French that you probably know, you'll be able to set an appointment online so that you can meet with somebody in person to open a bank account. This process may take a week or two. When I did it, actually, they they said that my appointment was request was sent and that someone would contact me. I was and After like a week, I got another email, um, but I didn't really pursue it anymore because from what I from what I've uh, read from other people in these groups, Americans in France, is that most of the people who are opening bank accounts in France, they do it through a reference. So once again, your spouse or your friend or partner will come in handy if you know somebody in France who has a bank account here. Um, you would want to ask them if they could help you open a bank account, and go with you to the make an appointment and go with you. It seems like the banks here um, are really care and trust references. So if you know somebody that you're close enough with to ask to help you open a bank account, go ahead and do that, because that will be the best way for you to open up an account. Um, and also, there's so much technical language about opening up a bank. Think about when you open up a bank account and you go talk to a teller, and there's all these fine prints, rules and regulations for your bank account and procedures and all this stuff. If you're once again, if you're not very fluent in French, you won't understand it, and you can't expect someone to speak English. Now, if you're in somewhere like a big city like Paris or Nice or something like this, maybe you'll run across people that are very confident in speaking English, so you won't have much of a problem. Maybe it's more specific to me because I'm in a smaller town that there's not a lot of English speakers at all. So that was something else. So you got it. We have Pôle Emploi. This is important for you'll need your spouse's help because this is also a French website, um, and they will give you benefits for being unemployed or helping you look for work. For example, if I have an interview anywhere in France, I like if I have to travel to Marseille or to Paris or any other city in the country, and it's for a job interview. I pay for my train ticket or whatever, and um, I have somebody that once somebody gives me the interview, I ask for like some receipt or just proof that I had an interview, and then I can take this to that company, and they'll reimburse me for my travel. I'm also told that they will reimburse you for your local travel or help you get discounted rates. For example, there's a train here, a subway or above ground metro train, and I'll get a discounted rate. I think only €6 I would have to pay for the month if I go to City Hall and ask for it. And there's probably a lot of things I can get. Unfortunately, I don't speak French, so my wife is just telling me things through her own experiences or what she finds out. And then this company is also the company that will give you free French classes. So you sign up through them online. You set an appointment. You want to do it it took me like a month or a few weeks after after we made the appointment online, and then I showed up in person. Um, so it does take some time, but they ask you questions. They would help you with your resume. They'll help you post a resume online so you can find work, um, and not just in your city, throughout all of France. And yeah, they'll sign you up for French classes. So right now I'm enrolled in a French course through this company, and I've just started it. I've only been to 3 classes this week. I just started it. And the classes are very good. I mean, I feel like I'm going to learn a lot, and I get homework. I get a lot of homework, and I get help with grammar. I get great help with verb conjugations. That's my Tuesday class. And then on Thursday, I have another class, which is like a follow up to the previous class, and we're doing a lot of reading and also more uh, uh, working with verb conjugations and grammar. And then on Friday, which is today, is the one I did today, and it's uh, oral. So they help you with pronunciation, which is good. And I signed up for another class that I will go to next Tuesday, and it will be for written too. So I'll get help. I'll get help with written French, speaking French, and grammatical and conjugate verb conjugations and things like that. And how much did it cost? It wasn't free actually, um, but it was only €20, a one-time payment of €20, and I'll have French classes. I don't know when it ends. I'll definitely be taking them. To the end of the year. I don't know what happens after that. But I'm still looking for work, unfortunately. But at least I am a fully enrolled student. So, oh wow, this is 19 minutes long. Okay, well, I have to do all this now. So now that that's taken care of, you know about that. So now I want to talk about. Um, oh wow, I can't remember. Um, there's so much going on. I can't even remember uh, what what else there is to do. Oh yeah, I remember now. Okay, so you're probably wondering, or maybe you wondered at some point, what am I gonna do? I'm not working. You're gonna spend all your money. At some point, you're gonna go broke, and you're gonna live on the street. It's not America. Doesn't work like that. So if you come here with your spouse, um, your spouse, you are not able to apply for unemployment. You hear all the things about France's good government and how you can get all these unemployment benefits and everything like that. Well, you can't get them, but once again, your spouse can. So once you arrive in France, your spouse, um, ask them to start looking into government benefits and things like that. They might be more familiar with it, being that they're in France from France. They might be more familiar with how to do that. So right now we have an apartment, two-bedroom apartment in the city center, and our rent, let's just say it's about $1,000 cheaper than what it was in New York. And because my wife applied for unemployment and housing benefits, um, the starting and it doesn't start right away. She started this process, more than a month ago, and the money hasn't kicked in until now. The first payment just came in like a week ago, so um, it's been a couple months. So you definitely still want to come here with your savings, um, you know, um, but he or she will be able to apply for benefits that will cover your rent, that will cover your utility bills, um, and phone plans are so cheap here. You know, I have an iPhone. I brought my iPhone here, and I unlocked it from the U.S. I have AT&T. I went to an AT&T store, unlocked my phone through the account, and came here, took out my SIM card, and for I think like €30 a month, I have unlimited calls, um, text messages locally, and an insane amount of data. I don't even know what it is. It's like, oh god, is it like 50 gigs of data? It sounds ridiculous. It's something ridiculous where I don't even have to worry about it at all. Like in the U.S., I used about 2 gigs of data, and I was on a family plan and it was expensive. I mean, I think it could be like 10 or 15 gigs of data, but it might be 50 really. I don't even know, but there's no way that I could ever use all of my data here, and I'm paying €30 a month. And on top of that, you can with that same plan, it's a free mobile plan, FREE mobile plan, free again. With that, you can make international calls for free. That's part of your plan. And when you make international calls on your plan, it doesn't charge you to make the calls, and it doesn't charge the person you're calling in the U.S. You can call someone's cell phone, someone's landline, doesn't matter. It's part of your plan. It's only €30 a month. Only thing you would have to pay for extra is if you send text messages to numbers in the U.S. So I've gotten text messages from the U.S. and I just didn't reply to them, and I could just call them, or I could send them a message on Facebook. So that's something else that's great. So once again, the government is will be paying for our rent. My wife is nice because technically it's her money that she's getting um, from the government. I'm not getting anything from them as far as rent expenses and things like that. You cannot apply for that until you live here for 5 years. You don't have rights for that, unfortunately. So technically, that money that you're getting from the government is your spouse's money, and hopefully they're nice enough to use that money to uh, pay for your living expenses. My savings that I have now is it's used for paying for things that are necessary. So yeah, there's just and there are a lot of expenses. Furniture, for example, is will be a big expense, um, and which is something else. My wife is prepared when I arrived. I've told her I'm going to, pay half, or actually when I arrived, all my money was on her account. So I was just like, take what you want out of my money that I put on your account, and we'll figure that all out later. But But yeah, so furniture is going to be your biggest expense. But where you can probably find a place that um, will be furnished. Um, so there's that too, and there's more. Um, there's so much going on. Oh yeah, so looking for an apartment. This is something you want to do, and I don't really have a lot of advice for this. I would recommend again going to Americans in France group, but I've been told that it'll be difficult for you to find an apartment if you don't have work um, here. So, and it's not possible. You're just going to show up here and start working right away. So, it might be a little tricky. Hopefully, you know somebody that knows somebody or something like that. I'm sure if you're moving here to France, if you decided to make the decision, it's not just because, oh, you know, you're trying to, well, hopefully you're not like a criminal or something and you're fleeing the country, but, your spouse, whoever you're moving here with, will know people and you guys can network. Networking is really an important thing here, talking to other people, asking for help or knowing somebody here. I'm starting to feel like that's a very important thing here. Um, yeah, that's uh, that's a lot, and we are expecting our baby anytime now. Um, so that's going to be most of our focus. Um, I can't tell you how nice it is to. It's the reason why we're here. If you're wondering why I would move from big New York City, working in the music industry, to being here in Brest, France, on the West Coast, um, it's just it's a nicer life. I think the small town feel. My wife goes out in the streets and she sees people that she already knows several times. Um, it's a lot less expensive, and she has family here, and they're very helpful. And yeah, the healthcare system here is great. Um, because of the healthcare, we are going to deliver our baby in a nice hospital and with people that I think look nice and have a lot of experience and all of this will be paid for by Social Security or be very cheap. I think like 60 euros. Um, anyway, whatever it is, it's not going to be anything near what health insurance costs to raise a baby in the United States. So that's why we are here. Um, so yeah, coming up, I guess in the future, the next time I post a video, I might have a baby in my arms, and it will be mine. Um, and I will also update you more on finalizing your permanent residency here. Once again, I'm going to send out this form, who you're probably familiar with. I'm going to put that bottom part of it in the mail and take care of that. Um, and then after that, hopefully my level of French improves over time. Once my level of French improves, I plan to go back to Sony um, because the contact that I have at the Human Resources told me that if I spoke French, there were opportunities available, but I didn't. So I'm hoping that I'll learn in several months and that I'll go back there and he'll help me find something. So that's the plan right now. Um, and after the baby is born, I have to make sure that we register at City Hall here, because I think here in France you have to register the baby's name and birth certificate at City Hall so that they're a French citizen. And then sometime after that, I'll have to, not right away, so this might be way down the road, but I'll have to register our baby at the United States consulate um, so that she has dual citizenship. Um, yep. Oh, and this form cost about 200 euros too. when you have to send that in. And registering our baby at the United States consulate will cost about 200 euros as well. But that will be important so that she can grow up with a dual citizenship. Wow, 30 minutes long. Gotta go.